like our day-to-day life, orange and
Yeah, yeah.
gray.
Everything should be orange and gray. I mean, it's like orange and gray. Boom. Orange and gray.
Oh, hey, you're
Orange and
right.
gray.
I guess
Yeah.
Unreal is kind of similar in colors to Modo, eh? I'll tap to Modo. Let's compare colors. People who are watching the stream are like, "What the fuck are these guys doing? Why are they comparing colors?"
Yeah. Really, not really.
Is there nothing better to do with your lives? No, we compare colors.
Yeah.
I like the subtle blue hues in the Modo interface.
Yeah, I almost think that Microsoft's kind of took that inspiration from that for their slate color scheme. But yeah, and then here we've got. Hold on.
You just like Modo
It's
too
even
much.
better. I like Modo a lot, but I also like Zbrush.
Yeah.
Which is also.
Well, I like things that get job done. I also like 3D-Coat.
Yeah, and then here we go. Here's mood board.
Yeah.
Black and gray.
Moodboard is
Orange
the
and gray.
application. Moodboard is the application Tom is working on. It's basically a pure ref or Quadro type of a utility where you can throw your references in, and then you can adjust their scale, opacity. You can do all sorts of cool.
Oh yeah. Let's plug that while we're here, right?
Yeah.
No. I wrote this originally for the Mac, so there's a Mac version. But one of the things that I do in Moodboard that I like a lot is once you're in a tool mode, it's sort of like working in 3D. Like once you're in a tool mode, that's it. Like that's the tool you're working in. So any action you do, like the rotate tool, boom, 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 you can move really quickly to just get things sized the way that you want or positioned. And then there's hotkeys too.
Yeah. And the automatic arrangement is coming soon, right?
What's that?
Automatic arrangement.
The auto grid is it's coming soon. So like you just want a silhouette. There you go. They're all set. Rock and roll. And you just turn it off.
Yeah, I especially like being able to crank your values and turn the image into a silhouette type of a thing.
Yeah, brightness and contrast. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but you can.
Yep. Well, what if the image too contrasty and you want it more subtle or whatever?
Right.
All right. Welcome to our daily stream, boys and girls.
So one of our patrons asked a question yesterday about Modo, because I guess but even though I haven't really used Modo professionally in over 2 years or a year or whatever. So he was asking this question about the bridge tool or the bevel tool. So in Modo, you've got modes, right? You've got auto select mode, so it's whatever thing you click on, or you can set it to face mode like a normal app. And then if you activate the bevel tool, you see that nothing happens in the viewport. And a lot of times what will happen is when you're going to do like a really soft bevel, like let's say do this.
Tom?
Yeah.
The top of your screen is cut off by the stupid Google Hangout thing. I don't know how to make it go away.
Yep, there you go.
Thank you.
I fixed it.
That was fast.
Yeah. So you have to click one time to activate the tool, which is okay. I mean, that's fine. For most cases, you're going to be doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff with this anyway. But what happens, like when you're trying to do something like this, where I just want to bevel that edge. Mm-hmm. It'd be really nice if the bevel tool just auto-activated so that I could precisely drill it in without worrying about accidentally clicking. So the way that you do that is you activate the tool, and you'll notice that I'm in edge bevel. If you look over here in my my pipeline, edge bevel, which is different from polygon bevel. It's just a different modifier set on that particular item. So if I switch back to edges, and activate the tool, or turn the tool on, but not activate it. And if I right-click on that in the tool pipe here, I can say auto activate, and you'll see that we get the little blue drag a dongle thing. Drop a tool, undo, so that we don't get any adverse effects, and then you'll see now it just automatically turns on.
So whenever you press bevel, it starts beveling right away. You don't have to click.
Yeah, and but the important thing to point out there is just this is 4 edges, right?
Yeah.
So
this was one of the confusing parts for me in Modo when I first tried using it, and it made it feel very what's the word, like lacking in feedback. In Maya, for example, you press bevel, instantly you see shit happening on screen and you see edges being beveled, right? And it gives you the kind of almost like a tactile feedback when you click on buttons. And then in Modo, the confusing part was that you press the button and nothing happens. And as a newcomer, you have no idea what the fuck is going on, right? And then you realize that you have to click and drag in order to see something happen. But apparently you can, change it, which is cool. Nice, you're making
hey,
look at that.
I made a greeble. Okay, so that's how you do it. Basically, that works with any tool as well. Smooth shift doesn't activate automatically, so you come over here and say auto activate. Right. So now, as soon as you click on the tool, you get the dongus, dingus, whatever it's called, the wango in your keyboard.
The wango dingo. I think you're talking about the wrong handle, man.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So that's it.
That's awesome.
That's how you do it. And then also after you make any changes like that, it's always good if it's a change you like to go to File, Config, Save, or just hit Alt F12. Which if you use Modo at all, you'll get used to Alt F12 is like every time you change a setting on a tool, you Alt F12. It's the secondary thing you do.
Sweet. Time to switch to Modo.
Time to switch to Modo.
I'm excited.
All right, so yesterday, since I've got my screen shared, I went through and built a loot container blueprint, and I did that in a first-person scene, but I could probably package it up and migrate it out pretty easily. It is two blueprints, one interface, one regular blueprint, and then some implementation code in your character controller would be required as well. But it's not too bad. I think it's 4 methods maybe. Yeah, it's your input action for looting on a key press, and then in range, out of range, so that your character can respond to, maybe if they're in range of loot, maybe their posture changes or something that could be cool. And then receive loot. And I don't think that these two would even be required necessarily. Yeah, they might not be required at all.
Try not to pan too much because you're sharing it through a Google Hangout, so like Hangout.
Yeah. Catch up. So I open it. Yeah, I can move fast. So you can play.
Just a quick thing, guys. Yesterday was our first time streaming Unreal work, and we did it through a Google Hangouts, and the quality might be not the most ideal one. So next time Tom is doing Unreal Engine work over the stream, he's going to be the one broadcasting. This way, you guys are going to get the best quality. So it's
or you could just join the community and ask me specific questions about stuff that didn't make sense in the stream that I did.
Yeah, that's what I do. I ask Tom things.
What'd you do yesterday, Alex?
I played Legend of Zelda Link to the Past.
What did you do on the stream yesterday?
Oh, I don't remember. Oh, I did some retopology.
Yeah, it's like I feel like you've bottomed out on the retopology thing.
Well, no, yes and no. I'm a little bit tired of the crate, and I'm like, retopology is the kind of thing that I just like to put on my headphones and you know, zone out and do it for like 3 hours and then be done with it. The problem with me streaming it is like I already went through all the basic tools that I'm using, and there's really not much new to it. It's like I literally put dots with points and faces tool, and then I modified topology with add split, and that's pretty much it. The only thing that I actually wanted to show yesterday, but I didn't, is and I'm gonna do it today, right now. Yeah, so this is what I did yesterday. I kind of just established a loose container for the bottom part. But yeah, whenever you have like a cylindrical part, there's a strokes tool, which is really handy. So let's see, front handle, there we go. So if I grab strokes tool, you can literally just draw things like this. It's similar to like how strokes work in Zbrush. You just drag a line from empty space and you hold shift to constrain it to a straight angle.
So it's just that just creates an edge loop in space, or is it actually combined?
Well, so far right now it's just a stroke, so it's not an edge or anything yet.
Okay.
But if you do like a cross section like this, I should probably be doing it with my pen, not my mouse.
Yeah. Then you can sweep, right?
Well, then yeah, I can actually draw.
No, I'm saying like if you bisect those two edges, you could sweep the thing.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell? My Windows ink got enabled. No, die. Wait a second. Why is Windows? Ah, that's why. Yes. Disaster. Oh, okay. I know. Guys, since we are live, I'll show you how to fix this bug without having to restart your computer. You go to services, and then you find your Wacom thing, Wacom tablet service, and then you stop it and start it again.
You stop that, then you take your Wacom Cintiq and you pick it up off the desk and disconnect it from the computer.
No, you
put it in the trash can.
Dude.
Then you set the trash can on fire.
No, Cintiq is great. It's just the drivers are bad. So I restarted it. The problem though is the fact that I didn't restart my Photoshop and my 3D-Coat, so my 3D-Coat probably still not gonna work properly. But now I think at least the pressure sensitivity should work. Let me just test it in Photoshop quickly. So if I grab my Photoshop, grab my brush. No, like you have to restart your software packages too, because like once the driver crashes, it crashes. So whatever. I'll just quickly show this. So you draw some strokes, and then you don't need to draw them as often as I'm drawing here. Like you know. You just press enter, and you can see it adds. It turns the strokes into actual topology, and then you can.
There's something similar to that in Modo, but I've never played with it. I'm going to open it right now and see if I can figure it out.
Yeah, and if you grab points and faces now and hold Control, you can add loops.
Whoops.
And oh, it's because I have a weird symmetry.
Symmetry turned on.
Yeah, so, yeah, in that case, I'll just grab delete polygons and use delete them here. That driver crash was fabulous. Okay, and then you can see I got the beautiful looking thing. I bet I can even, what I can do here now is just use select to use and select edges, or like select words, switch to rectangle, so I have all these words selected, And then with the transform tool, we can do this. Oh, that's weird. It moves it within the boundary, but it doesn't want to move closer. That's rather strange.
Oh, that's pretty cool, but that's not the same thing. What are these? Oh, yeah, it's the same thing.
I'll share your screen in a sec. I'm confused here. Whatever, grab.
I think it's the same thing.
We should probably post our stream link. Bob is asking for it. Do you mind doing that?
Okay. I was trying to learn something new, but I'll go do your job for you.
Hey, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused, man. It's weird. Okay, so I guess it works. It just... There you go. Hey, that was weird. Alright. I don't know why it was happening, but instead of using the handle, I used the freeform one, and it moved these edges together. Anyway, so that's the strokes tool. It's really cool for cylindrical stuff, and it's also really cool for non-cylindrical stuff. And yeah, you can draw shapes. Oh, you can also use it with different stroke types. So, like for example, if you want a square topology, you can do something like this, and then do like this, and go like this, and then press enter, and bam. Alright, so what are you gonna do today, Tom? Also, let me share your screen so you can show us what you learned about Modo.
I didn't really have time to learn it because you stole my thunder.
Well, take it back. Take your thunder back.
So, I think that's not my wagon. So, I'm in topology mode. It's a really strange word, topology. And for some reason, my topology pen's not working.
Oh, come on.
There we go.
Did your Wacom driver crash?
No. No, but just give it 5 minutes. So then I can switch to the topology pen here, which gives me like everything I do with the topology pen is constrained to the surface. So what I'm doing right now is just holding shift down and left clicking on an edge to extend it. And you can see that it's conformed to that. And then I can left click on this edge and grab just that one, or I can shift right click to grab that full span.
Yeah. And
drag the whole thing out.
It's really similar to a quad drawing in Maya.
Mm-hmm. And then what I was thinking of was this retopo guides, but I don't know.
I think it's more for. Is there an automatic retopology? Because it sounds like retopo guides in Zbrush.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
It's this the contour tool. Yeah. I just switch to the front. Oh, can I?
So you just draw several of these, and then.
Yeah, there you go. You just hold on the shift key.
Sweet. How do you add cross sections with the same tool, or like?
Well, these are curves, right? So.
Do you just press enter? How do you connect them?
No, probably not. There you go. You just bridge them.
Bridge. Sweet. Neat.
That's pretty cool, actually. I didn't know about that before just now.
Learning every day.
Yeah, I wish I had known that when we did the game jam, and I was retopologizing all those
by hand.
Little bits on the train.
You're a monster.
Huh?
You're a monster.
Why?
Because you did it by hand.
Yeah, I did it all by hand. That's crazy.
That's why. Okay.
Okay, so I think I think we're gonna not do Unreal or
Yeah, so
Modo.
I was thinking we could take a little break because it's Friday and spend a day or two doing some ZBrush. And what I wanted to do is kind of a focus on sculpting a very basic human face and kind of approach it in a very systematic fashion, systematic, kind of foolproof fashion, where we do one thing at a time and then we look at our references, we look at our sculpt, we compare them side by side and see how we can improve them. And in the end, after spending maybe 3-4 hours in total, we're gonna have something that really closely resembles a human face. And even if you really suck at sculpting human facial forms, and or you've never done it before, if you follow along, you should be able to achieve a more or less satisfying result. That's the plan. So I think first step would be actually to collect some references, because we're kind of doing it as we go, right? So we don't have references yet. So what I was gonna do, and I'm gonna launch Pure Ref because it has auto arrangement, and so don't hate me, Tom, for using Pure Ref.
I don't care what you use.
Okay, so let's look at some just male generic face. So yeah, I'm searching for a generic male, and I'm starting to collect some imagery. So here we go, just like a generic looking dude. It's nice to have a few angles. Let's grab this guy for like a texture, like a surface details. And one thing that I like doing when sculpting faces is having just a variety of different like people with somewhat similar facial proportions, but like kind of different ages or different kind of landmarks, and that kind of helps to, you know, just identify certain spots and be like, hey, do I want to add it to my sculpt, or do I not want to add it to my sculpt? Like these both of these guys have this little crevice under their lower lip that you know, where like two muscle groups overlap, right? So basically a landmarks reference. And we can have like a slightly younger looking dude because he's got a nice like a bony facial structure. That's cool. Another thing that I found really helpful is actually looking at other people's sculpts, because there's something about, you know, actually seeing you know, a human face sculpted in the same, you know, ZBrush environment. A good reference for that is, you know, Ryan Kingsling. Obviously, he's you know, he's been doing that for a while. I found this, you know, like ZBrush image by just searching for generic face, and you can look at it and really see what they're like, what kind of form they're creating, because you have this, you know, clay shader. I don't know who. Oh, this is Peter Zoppi. That's the artist behind this guy. So another thing to search for is actually, give me just one more second. There was another. So another thing that is helpful is male facial planes, and this type of I'm looking for like these types of images where you get a clear identification of the planes and what kind of geometric shapes create a human face when you assemble them together. So I've used this one before. I have a real cast similar to this on my desk, so I can use that as a reference at all times. And then let's grab this image. So you don't need to go too crazy, just a few images is fine. Because, the more, if you go overboard with the reference collection, it's really easy to start getting, distracted, because you have too many things to look at, and, a lot of the shapes would start, contradicting to themselves, contradicting to each other. So let's do normalize by width, and then Control O, Control P. Okay, so I have my references. Now let's start ZBrush and hope that my driver issue is not gonna screw it up. And on your end, do you have references collected, Tom?
Yeah, I just put together a little board.
Yeah, this looks great. Oh, I don't see your references anymore. Okay, so
I was just quitting some stuff so that I've got like 64 gigs of RAM, but I want to.
Yeah. Okay, I'm starting the ZBrush. Fingers crossed. Probably should quit 3D-Coat. Oh, I don't have music playing. That's what's wrong. All right. So welcome to ZBrush. I think it's our actual first stream using ZBrush. So if you're new to ZBrush, by the way, you're gonna run into this thing where you draw in 2.5D. Just click on a polymesh here, drag it on a canvas, press edit, and then press Control N on the keyboard, and that will clear your canvas, and now you can do your 3D stuff. So another thing I like to do is set my range slider to 0. This way I have a solid color. And we can also, double the size of the canvas so it actually fills up my screen. And every time, you go into this mode where you start drawing stuff in 2.5D, just make sure your edit is enabled and then press Ctrl N to clear the canvas. For the sake of this practice, let's start with the same Dynamesh sphere. So I'm gonna use Dynamesh 16 because it's a low poly one. And then I'm gonna disable perspective. And first thing I'm gonna do is make sure symmetry is on. So let's grab a part of the sphere. Also, let's see where's our. Let's just grab a move brush and kind of start shaping a human head. I'm trying to find where my axes are. There we go. And I have a set of custom menus here that help me.
And I can't remember if you have to shift click on dynamic, right?
Yeah, so if your brush size is kind of slow to increase or decrease, mouse over this dynamic and shift click it, and this will let you increase your brush size a little bit faster. So what I'm doing here is creating a shape of a human skull. And then from the sides, oh god, I've been using 3D-Coat for too long. From the sides, I'm flattening it because human head is not actually a sphere; it's got a flattened edges. So now, next step, and Tom, are you using the Dynamesh Sphere 16 because your resolution looks a little bit too high?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's better. From the front, we're gonna round it up. So first thing first, creating eye sockets. I'm using just mask pen to mask out the two basically holes. Control clicking on an empty space, and then using move brush, I'm pushing it in. Now with this, you can dynamesh. The reason we are starting very low is I want you to get into a notion of only using with the amount of resolution required to create a certain form, and not go past that amount, and only add resolution when you need to. Watch out for the shape of your head. It looks like on the sides it's a little bit too flat. I think you're going more for a actual skull shape, which doesn't include the muscles that over here that kind of make it rounder. So we have a nose. We pulled it out with the move tool. We have an eye sockets, and next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create, using same approach, I'll create a hole for the mouth. Its lips are much easier to sculpt if you actually have like the hole in there for the mouth. So now we're gonna grab a move brush. We can dynamesh, and you know, we can start shaping it into the mouth. And as you can see, I'm like basically getting the lips shape free here. Now, next thing, we do need to have a neck. Neck is like, if you're going for like if you're sculpting a head, you shouldn't be sculpting it without a neck, because it's just makes it so much harder. Once again, same approach. I'm masking a form, or masking a shape, inverting it, and using the move tool, I'm moving it out. Look at him, he looks happy. So we can dynamesh. Actually, I'm not gonna dynamesh because it makes me lose my lips shape, so I'm gonna keep it the way it is for the time being. And just kind of getting it to match a human shape. What you could do using a slice curve, just add a few divisions here, just so I can work with the form without having to dynamesh.
What is that slice curve? Where is that?
So.
Got it.
Did you find it? Yeah. Yeah, so if you go into your brush thing and then press S and then slice curve right here. I should give you my custom interface so it's a little bit easier.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. So you can see now that I have topology, I'm starting to shape it more like human shoulders. I don't know if it's the driver's thing or I forgot how to use Zbrush, but I keep like zooming in on the wrong part of the screen. So once you got like a loose representations of shoulders, just from the front view, make sure to look at it from the top and give them some volume, because it's really easy to make them look very thin. So I'm trying to establish kind of a start of a chest cavity. Not just a cavity, like pectoral muscles. So we got like a loose form here in place, which is good. And I'm just gonna shape my silhouette a bit better. And whenever you start a new sculpt, like for the first hour, for the first half an hour, depending on your experience, it'll always look like crap. Like right now, it looks like a bad Play-Doh doll. Okay. So I'm just waiting for Tom to catch up a bit, and I'm polishing some of the details. Next thing I'm gonna do is using the same approach. I'm gonna extract ear shape, just a form for the ear. And then ears are always kind of have this angle. They're not just straight. So if you draw a pivot point from like a frontal part, like this, and then rotate it, and kind of move them back in, that's what an ear would typically be like. And right now my resolution is a little bit too low, but that's fine. We're gonna increase it as we go. I want you to kind of just look at the overall form as opposed to being cut up in details. I'm gonna pull the lips apart a bit so I can dynamesh. So when I dynamesh, you can see I'm starting to lose the detail. I'm starting to lose my lips, I'm starting to lose my ear form. So that's a good indicator that it's time to increase my dynamesh resolution a bit. So I'm gonna crank it up to, let's say, 24. And then when I dynamesh, you can see we still have our lips, we just have a little bit more resolution. And I can probably just get rid of the these polygroups, I don't need them. So Control W to merge all groups together. Okay, so next step. How are you doing, Tom?
No idea.
Your sculpt is actually looking better than mine right now, so I wouldn't worry too much. So next step, you can see we have the large eye sockets here, but we don't have actual eyes. And the reason I'm creating the eye sockets just like as a large cavities is so I can insert eyeballs and then wrap the tissue around them. So what I'm gonna do is I'll grab insert sphere brush right here. And then I'll drag and scale a couple of eyeballs. Now, with this selected...
Yeah, okay.
What's that?
So, insert...
Yeah.
Sphere?
Yeah. And then just drag them. Make sure to drag just on one axis so it doesn't change, scale them uniformly. Yeah. See how it... Yeah, that's fine. And the scale doesn't matter. We're gonna... So scale and position doesn't matter. We're gonna adjust it. So right now, you can see when you do an insert sphere, it masks the rest of your object. Mm-hmm. But it keeps it as a separate polygroup. So I'm gonna do a Control-Shift and click on the eyeballs. Make sure they're proper spheres. And then I'm gonna... I think it's under Subtool. I'm gonna split hidden. And now if I tap, you can see we have two different objects. Now with the eyeballs selected, I'm gonna use move gizmo to move them around. You can enable ghosting to... where's ghosting? Yeah, transparent ghost. To actually see through. And then adjust scale to make them a little bit more of a scale with human eyes. And we're gonna keep roughly a scale of one eyeball in between. And then from the side view, we're gonna eyeball these eyeballs to be not too far in, not too far out, kind of close to this the nasal ridge. And we have our creepy looking dude. Now I'm gonna disable transparency. Switch back to our head and start wrapping around a mask and start wrapping around the geometry to create eyelids. What's going on, Tom?
Oh no, my stuff was masked, so I don't know.
Oh yeah. And all I'm using is a move tool right now. Like I haven't switched to other than mask curves. And he looks like a creepy old man right now, but that's gonna get resolved. So right now I've reached the point where I need more resolution, so let's dynamesh it to 32. And I'm losing some shape there, which is fine. Switching to clay and maybe clay build-up, and starting to establish more of the landmarks. I definitely need more resolution. Okay, gonna go up to 64. There you go. I think this is a little bit too much resolution for where I am, but I do need it. Using clay, we can drop some of the muscle groups in. Time standard to cut into the surface. Okay, what's the struggle?
I think I don't know. Doesn't feel like my eyes are in the right place. But.
They are a little bit too close. Do you have perspective enabled right now?
No.
Okay, so if eyes, there should be roughly maybe like well, not maybe, there should be roughly one more eyeball in between. So I think that this is a little bit better, yeah. And now you just need to wrap around the eyelids. And don't be afraid to push that the push in. Yeah. Much better. Play build up. Also, why am I using this red clay?
Yeah, no.
I like basic material too. It's a very unforgiving material because there's a lot of highlights going on. At this early stage, Stream Dynamic is a good brush to use to identify some of these planes that we collected references of. Because I have a limited screen space, I'll just use that the cast I have on my desk. But you guys saw what I'm referring to. So with clay buildup, let's build up some of the draw. My head right now is very wide. I'm gonna use a large move brush to fix that. The nose is pretty small. Now that I have a little bit more resolution, let's repeat this process again with pushing the mouth in. And I'm gonna use Control-Shift to just even extrude that part. This way I have a little bit of a better definition here. Pushing this form in. Another thing that could help is having a cylinder for where the teeth are. So I can just
to create that barrel.
Yeah, exactly. So insert cylinder. Split hidden. And now with the rotate transform scale, we're gonna move cylinder in place. And transparency. It's helpful to look at it from the top. Might need to adjust scale a little. And then you can adjust whether you want to have underbite or overbite by rotating the cylinder. Okay, this looks about right. Yeah. Back to my move brush. And now that's about the time when I want to start looking at my references, because I want to start establishing some of these landmarks. First of all, ears, I haven't worked on them much, so let's work around that. And then we'll give it a bit of a neck. Here I'm just smoothing, there's not much to it. So ear, just shaping it a bit. And like drawing this kind of a letter Y. Ear is actually really easy once you understand it, that it's a letter Y that's kind of curved. So there's this shape, and then there is this. You guys see the letter Y? Okay, and then using clay buildup, we're adding this little bit of a curve, and then pushing this in, and then with move, we're creating a little bit of a gesture here, with like this. So you can see we have a basic here. Very nice and easy. I'm gonna try to arrange my screens so I can see Tom's screen. There we go. It looks like you're still in a lower resolution area. What's your Dynamesh resolution right now?
48.
Yeah, you can probably go up to 64.
Yeah, these eyes still feel really wide to me.
That's fine. You can adjust this after the fact. So looking at the model in 3/4, we have just got quite an alien head here. So I'm gonna fix that by pushing in the eyes and like getting the skull, what's the word? Cheekbones out. The trim dynamic, I can establish the planes in a much clearer fashion. And I can use it with Alt to build up the plane. I feel like my ears are a little bit too far, so I'm gonna mask them and then use move to reposition, and also scale down. So let's get a better shape for the eyelids. I'm masking this entire eyelid region because it's very, it sticks out a lot right now. And using move, I'm moving it in. And this is like, if you're following along and you're frustrated and you're heavily breathing like Tom right now, that's definitely, that is a part of the process. Like, in this stage, it's gonna really suck, and you just have to, keep working on it, and there's going to be a moment where you do one last little change, and then suddenly it all comes together and starts looking a little bit more like a human. And that's what I'm after right now, just, doing these tweaks one after another. So one important thing is establishing this kind of the fatty tissue to connect the nose to the face better. So what I like to do is kind of mask this upper lip, and then using clay, just build up this form. And right now I don't have enough of a resolution to do it properly. So we'll come back to this in a sec. these sounds are. With clay, establishing some of the fatty muscle tissue. I think my eyeballs are a little bit too large, so I'm gonna scale them. Yeah, that feels better. And yeah, eyes is something that you're gonna be constantly adjusting. Making sure to look at my model from the bottom. I'm gonna hide using my select lasso. I'm gonna hide the lower part of the torso because I don't really need it, and this way I can look at my face from below and do adjustments from that angle. And that's crucial to be able to, you know, to look at your model in cross section to be able to tell what's going on. Making sure that mouth is wrapping around our cylinder properly. And masking the bottom. This way I can create a little bit of a overhang. Slowly turning it into a more human form. Now, if you look at the skull shape from the top, generally it's a little bit wider at the back, and it kind of tapers to the front. Using trim dynamic, flatten some of these forms. Using inflate. Well, let's go one more step in resolution. Let's go to 100. Dynamesh it. I don't want to connect this too much, so with move topological, and once again I'm spreading the lips apart and then remeshing. You can see my mesh is also not very symmetrical, so you can use mirror and weld to mirror it. And that's probably as far as I'm gonna go with Dynamesh. After this I will just start subdividing it. Clay. Clay is amazing to add fat layers. Let's give him an Adam's apple. I'm starting to mask this, actually no, I'm not starting to mask anything. Let's trim dynamic this. I want a well-defined jaw. If you look at the profile, you're like this jaw joint kind of roughly aligned with the mouth line. Inflating. With damn standard, let's add him some nostrils so he can breathe. with inflate. I'm gonna start inflating the lips to give them a little bit more of a form. What I like to do for the eyes, actually, so I'm looking at your sculpt right now, Tom, and what I find what I find interesting is that it looks like you've changed the race, the profile, the race, the silhouette and the age of the face that you're sculpting several times throughout the process. You started with a younger guy, that then younger white guy who then became a middle-aged black man, and now he's like an older guy. And I'm wondering if it feels like you're like getting frustrated with the early stage of the process, and then you're trying to almost change it too much instead of refining like a certain form and turning it into more refined individual shape. I feel like you're changing the major proportions, because if you guys remember, like he started having him be more younger looking dude. So why won't we, make the mouth slightly, smaller? Now you have these very kind of protruding cheeks. There's almost like you see that hard shadow on the sides. Why won't we soften that up a bit? Because we can add that later, like these types of characteristics, and start by going a little bit more kind of generic. There is a reason we googled the generic male, right? Because we want to start generic and then add the character later, because it's much easier than locking yourself into a specific character. Another thing, your ears are too high, so if you look at it from the profile, mask the ears, and then use transpose to position them so the top of the ear roughly aligns with the upper. Yeah. There you go. So now also scale them down. No, undo. Scale them down a bit. Yeah. And now let's look at it from the profile. From the profile, your face is sticking out quite a bit. And then ears are fine. So let's do this. Let's look at it from the profile, and the thing is, you don't want to do these major changes when you're in a high resolution. You want to kind of establish this when you're at like Dynamesh level, like 32, like early on, right? It becomes progressively harder the more topology you have. You'll have to do some smoothing, but that's fine. We're still fairly early on. So let's grab, like right now your face is very, very, like it kind of protrudes forward. So what we want to do is kind of just like, that, and push it in. I don't know what the hell that is. Looks like a Zbrush certified. Yeah. And then you can move eyeballs as well. Okay. So there is a little bit of a awkward gesture with the way kind of neck is going back and your face is protruding forward. So we can adjust that by lasso selecting the like lower torso part and kind of angling it slightly forward. And you can switch to a lasso instead of a rectangle. It'll make your life easier. Yeah, so I wouldn't use curve, I'd use lasso point. There we go. There you go, slightly better, that's fine. Now, with Move Brush, let's make... Right now he's got his jaw and chin larger than Ron Perlman's jaw and chin, which is a little bit excessive. Ron Perlman is the king when it comes to the chin. And another thing that I notice is like his forehead is large and it's pointing, like it's sticking out quite a bit. So let's kind of flatten it up a bit, just a tiny bit. Yeah, that's fine. So now let's look at it from the front. Now he's a little bit more like looking more like a kind of like a more generic looking dude. Now let's you know, make the chin slightly pointier and see how like the fatty tissue of the cheeks is kind of overhangs right now, creating that a feel of the older man. This is fine if you're going for an older man, but we want to focus on, you know, knowing how to establish the facial planes and, you know, kind of focus on creating beauty first, like. And then we can, you know, age a character if we feel like it. And then you can, you know, smooth out the ear stuff and work on maybe define the neck a little bit better. And I feel like you had a really good, like, I was impressed how fast you were able to get to a really good form of the neck. It actually felt really nice. And then somewhere along the lines, you know, your self-doubt and self-hate is what made you change it, and then you lost it. Adam's apple, and then kind of like a neck, back muscles, the trapezoids that connect into the base of the head, it could be smoothed out. And yeah, for something like this, instead of using clay buildup, I would use Trim Dynamic, because it cuts into the surface and helps you establish the plane as opposed to building this kind of blobby mass. And don't be afraid to make the brush bigger. And when you see a crevice, you can use Alt to fill it in with Trim Dynamics. So like this crevice, for example. And once you smooth this surface out, I would use a move to pose it to something a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so with Move Brush, you can start refining some of the, the profile issues. But this is looking much better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit pointy towards the front. And keep like the idea.
I don't know. Did you talk about selecting a cross section, like
Yeah.
being able to see the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep the idea of the S curve and C curves in mind too. Like human body is all like graceful and nature been perfecting its design for millions of years, and like it when you do a gesture drawing you use C curves and S curves, and basically if you see a point where it's too sharp or like the line is not straight, that means that you could probably smooth it out and turn it into a curve. All right, I think you're on the right track. I'll keep an eye on your screen so we don't get carried away. All right. Meanwhile, in my department, using trim dynamic, let's actually, instead of using trim dynamic, what I can do here is mask it, smooth it, push it in, and you're getting the eyelids, eye bags for free. Next step, mask it, smooth it, push it out. Looks like a badly injured boxer, but they're creating a little bit of that. Mouth. Masking lower lip, inverting, and then using move to shape it. You can use inflate to give it some volume. Invert it, close the mouth. Eyes are still a little bit too gigantic, which is fine. Like I said, eyes are going to be adjusted a lot. Scale it down. Move it. Now that eyes are adjusted, adjust the placement. Now I want to define this shape better. I keep using the wrong shortcuts because to use the 3D-Coat. Masking it, this way I have precise control over it. Inverting it to and it's basically the same approach as before, where we were adjusting the like masking and extracting parts of the head, but now we're just working on a smaller scale where it's just one shape. And there's quite a too much of a surface change, so I'm adjusting that. From the bottom, rounding out the mouth a bit. So here, let's build up some bone structure. Masking, move.
So once I've got kind of a generic waxy head thing, I guess I'm confused where do I go next?
Are you asking in general or for this particular exercise?
Well, is this particular exercise, like as far as what I'm doing, should I just stop here?
Basically, once, like, I think you're at the point where you can subdivide more and start doing what I'm doing here, where I'm refining the eyes, refining the shape of the mouth, and going for, like, I'm barely looking at the reference right now. I just want to get a generic, the form of each individual object right. So the nose, what does the nose look like? The nose doesn't look like this blob that I have right now. Nose has a better planes. It needs to have a little bit of this here, right? So I'm sculpting, basically, it's about sculpting each individual facial part, and then, you know, arranging them on top of this head. But now once we have all of these generic facial features in, we can pick a single reference and use it to adjust these. You know, maybe the reference has like a large nose, so we're gonna give him that. Maybe he's got a double chin, so we're gonna do that. And that's how we can actually create a character. And you can see with like just using a move brush and adjusting two features, suddenly from a generic looking dude, we turned him into a more interesting looking character. He kind of looks like Sir Ben Kingsley now, right? But yeah, like, what I want you to do is get more comfortable with facial planes and be able to sculpt the form the way that you want to. And human face, like nothing else, it's all about facial planes. So it's like, basically I learned to sculpt by sculpting a human face every day for like 6 months or something, back when I was in college.
Cool.
So, yeah, and like, this is obviously our first time doing it on stream, so maybe tomorrow we could start by doing like, I can do a sculpt over for you if that could be helpful, if you're kind of not sure where to go next from here. Depending on like what you.
Yeah, I think I was I mean, you know, I wasn't really watching where you went next, I guess is the problem.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so yeah, tomorrow I'll start by doing a sculpt over and take it kind of to the next level. But yeah, right now, I guess, how much time do we still have on the stream?
I've got stuff I've got to do here at 12:30 or so.
Okay, and right now is like, so let's do it for another 10 minutes, and you know, don't feel like you don't have to sculpt along. We can continue. Like, I can do a sculpt over for you tomorrow, whenever. But yeah, basically right now I'm just like, you can see I already subdivided my model. I can go back one layer down if I need to do major changes. But yeah, right now he kind of looks like a a middle-aged man. I want him to be younger, so we're gonna smooth out some of the facial features and maybe make the head slightly narrower. Making sure there's no harsh lines. If you look at that, where the head connects the skull, there's a tendency to make this connection very hard. I don't think you want to, so I'm smoothing it out a bit. You can always add like additional detail later like this with like a clay brush. Back to my ear. And you can see I'm starting to exit that area of a shitty looking sucky sculpt. Do you see my screen, Tom, right now?
Yeah.
So at this point, I kind of got all my loose proportions in, and now, like, hey, I want to refine a jaw, and all I need to do is just like a couple strokes, and bam, suddenly it's a more refined, very realistic looking jaw. And then, like, my eyes are still not quite there, but because, I kind of systematically kept adding form and then refining it, now it's just a matter of, just like doing very little adjustments to make it work. And like I'm adding a little bit form here, and I'm looking, as I'm drawing on the left side, I'm looking on the right to see how my silhouette is being adjusted. And if anything, right now the problem is like my cheekbone is sticking out quite a bit. So how do we fix it? Well, we freaking mask it. Smooth it, invert it, and then we can adjust it to our liking. And then we can use clay to, carve out some shapes. And that's where this is where I start looking at the references, right? So let's look at this guy, for example. He's got a very straight nose, and then there's quite a lot of body meat basically in his forehead. He's got like quite a meaty middle-aged man face. So let's see what can we implement from here. So if you grab this, mask these, that's the muscles that stick out.
It's almost like from his temple down underneath his cheekbone is all one flat plane almost. There's no contour to the side of his face.
Yeah, it can be deceiving the lighting. I mean, let's.
No, I mean in the reference.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he's got something there in real life, but the reference could be deceiving. That's what I'm trying to say. We can adjust. Oh shit! At this point, disable Dynamesh because I don't want to accidentally re-Dynamesh it, and then we can adjust the placement of the mouth if you want to. Move it up, down. The mouth is already sculpted. I'm just adjusting the placement of it. And then there's quite a crevice here in the middle. I don't want extreme elevation changes here, so I'm filling it out with the clay, smoothing it out. Now looking at it from the bottom, it feels a little bit wobbly. So when it comes to surface details, when I don't want to create harsh edges, with trim dynamic, you can see it's quite harsh. I don't want that. I'm starting to use flatten brush. And kind of gently flatten this surface to establish a nice planar structure. Because I don't want like a wobbly, weird looking forehead, right? Nobody likes that. And then maybe here, using clay, just like a little bit of that. And my resolution, like we can go up in the subdivision layer. Now, these, the corners of his eyebrows stick out quite a bunch. Another thing I like to do is typically when I sculpt, it's not as bad here, but I do a lot of. Establish this a bit.
Remesh only this. Jeff asked a question in the chat. He says you can remesh only the selected part of the model.
There is a plugin for that, I think. Like the way I typically approach it is like earlier I used the slice curve to subdivide it more if I need to.
Right. But that doesn't carry through in the Dynamesh. That just
no, Dynamesh re-dynameshes the entire thing.
Right.
With trim dynamic, establishing the plane, filling out that crevice because I don't need it. You can see the eye bags are hanging quite low right now, so masking my eyes, smoothing, and then adjusting the placement. And same approach as what I did with the lip. I'm masking the upper eyelid, smoothing it out, and using move to shape my lower lid, inverting, creating an overhang. Overhang is important. And you know, a lot of people well, not a lot. Like people when they sculpt, they underestimate the thickness of human eyelids. They're really thick. Like there's a lot of volume to them, so make sure to add a little bit of a volume there. And right now his eyes are a little bit weird, so let's and add a little bit of a gesture. And now with the damp standard, I can kind of clean them up a bit and then start making them a little bit crisper. And eyes, like, I don't know if I mentioned, but eyes, you work on them until the very last second. Like, you work on them a lot. Now, I think I'm gonna smooth them out just a little bit. And now the entire eye thing. So, I'm masking the eyeball, smoothing it out, and let's play with the placement until we get it right. I think I got this part right, so now let's move it slightly down. And what I like to do is mask my eyebrows and adjust their placement after the fact. And a lot of times when I sculpt, I leave quite a gap between the eyebrows and the eyes, and in real life there's not that much of a gap for the most part, depending on a human, of course. So it's much easier for me to do this as opposed to like to create this overhang after the fact and make him look angry. Moving it closer together. Now my eyes are quite, like they're kind of pointing up. Their overall angle is, I don't like. So let's select them, smooth them, and using rotate from like a center, we can orient them, you know, the way we want to. And then maybe adjust the placement again. So I'm gonna quick save and try something crazy. If I click like somewhere down here halfway through on my undo slider, and it's gonna take a few seconds, you can see we have like an ugly looking freaking thing that is just a monster, right? And do you see my screen, Tom?
Sorry, I'm watching the stream.
This is where we started. It looked like nothing like a human, but then, you know, it's the nature of this process. You start with a blob of clay, and then you refine it. You refine it until you get something that's like, obviously it's not an actual final sculpt by any means, but it's definitely starting to look like it could be something good.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel the same way about mine, but
wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the magic day.
Yeah.
So with ear, like I'm gonna refine the ear a bit, and then we're gonna call it done for today. And like I'm not like, so far I barely really looked at the reference, and I'm just kind of doing it from what I know about human anatomy. And then when I actually get to the reference, that's when the finer refinement comes in. You know, this kind of a angle is a little bit extreme. Let's make him slightly less. I also don't like the shape of his back of his head. And I think I said I'm gonna work on the ear, so let's do that. Just one more thing here. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, just like with
it's definitely more rewarding doing it this way than
doing it by yourself.
Than just doing it by myself.
Well, that's the same thing with like line drawing, right? We spend like what 4 or 5 days on it, and there was like a crazy amount of progress, and you still don't feel comfortable with line drawing, right?
No.
And sculpting is the same way. Like, I mean, you know, we can take a few days to get you to the point where you start producing a better looking result, but you know, it's gonna take you time to get there.
Good.
I don't sculpt, you know, faces on a daily basis anymore, and you know, I'm struggling right now, but you know, due to my natural charm, you guys can't detect my struggle. You just think that I'm doing great, but I don't. That was a joke. Freaking ears.
Yeah, I think earlier, I think I had most of the problems that I had, I was trying to keep up with where you were, like which step you were on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be cool if we just went slower overall.
Another thing that another landmark that I don't have established here is like the cheekbone that connects to the skull type of a thing. I don't remember my anatomy names, so you can go lower in the subdivision layer so I can do these changes better. Look, where's that younger kid that I had here too? So yeah, if you look over here, where the ear is, there's like a certain plane, and then this part kind of sticks out a bit more. That's what I'm trying to do here. And then using flatten and large brush, I can emphasize this plane. See how I'm emphasizing this plane? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I like my planes emphasized. And I think overall, if you look in the profile, I mean, I want a little bit of more here. But I don't want it too much. Ah, crap. So, and like if you need a reference for an ear, definitely grab a picture from the internets. Oh, standard is actually a good brush because it kind of creates this natural blobbiness. I think I actually forgot what the ear looks like from the side. I can grab a reference. And you can use the transpose just like for everything else.
How do I set a custom hotkey in Zbrush?
So
is it Alt click?
Alt Shift. Alt Shift. Let me see. So yeah, Alt Shift click. No, Alt Control. Sorry. Yeah, Alt Control, and then you press your hotkey.
Alt Control. That's not working.
Okay, so do you see my screen?
Yeah.
So I'm holding Alt and Control, and then I'm clicking on Move, and see how see how it says press any key combination to assign a custom hotkey, or press Escape or mouse button to cancel.
Got it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to set something to my embed. When you're using trim dynamic,
I almost never use embed for trim dynamic.
Yeah. If you drive it down really far, it can make it really hard to influence your surface.
Okay, ear from behind. I think my...
If you're like me and you don't have a lot of control over the pressure that you're using on the tablet.
Yeah. Clay. So with clay brush, I'm building up that surface that connects the ears to the skull. I would love my mouth to stick out a bit more. That's cool. Smooth it out.
Cool. All right.
All right, guys.
Wrap it up here.
yeah, let's call it done for today. We'll continue tomorrow. And yeah, I hope you had fun watching it. Oh, look at this crappy nose. Let's not show it from this angle. So yeah, very quickly.
Remember to save your work.
What's that? What did you say?
Remember to save your work.
All right.
I said remember to save your work.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, yeah, quick save in Zbrush is pretty handy for that. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you guys later.
Leave comments on the YouTube video that will be posted shortly.
Yeah, and yeah, subscribe and follow us on Twitch. Back us up on Patreon, and you know, thanks a lot for your time.
Have an awesome weekend.
Oh yeah, that too. Hey,
Alright.
I'm still learning how to be social. Where's how do I stop screen? Maybe I do need it. Wait, what happens if I... No, nothing.
Didn't you set a shortcut? I thought you already set a shortcut.
And then I forgot that shortcut.
This is always like 5 minutes of the stream.
Yeah, how to cancel a stream. There you go. Broadcasting, stop. Okay, 1, 2...